Welcome again to Front Porch Conversations. I'm Gay Martin, and we are blessed today to have guests that dropped in to sit on our porch today. And you'll be excited to meet Joel and Charlotte Evans. Well, guys, how long have you been at Advent Christian Village?
We've been here 6 months, about 6 months.
6 months?
September last year.
Great. Where did you come from?
We came from East Tennessee. That was our last place that we lived before we came here, and we were there 13 years.
Really?
And in the Smoky Mountains.
Oh, my.
Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg.
Well, you were right in God's vacation place,
Yes.
weren't you?
We're
Sure
waiting
were.
for the mountains to grow here.
That's funny. Well, what did you do for 13 years there?
As little as possible. Actually, we snowbirded from there. Tennessee has nice climate, but
Sure.
they still have winter.
Right.
So we came down to Central Florida for 10 or 11 of those years for the winter.
Oh, you did? Okay.
And but we enjoyed life there in Tennessee. There's lots to do in Pigeon Forge and all that, and then of course
my.
we had family up north and
Sure.
places that when we came home in the summer, we often traveled to those places.
Did you?
So we kept busy.
Yeah. Where would you go when you'd come to Florida? Was it always the same place?
Yeah.
We there's a campground in Lake Wales, Florida,
Right.
that we were at, and I worked in the office there.
Did you?
We did
At the campground?
and they had jam sessions where we sang and did such
And
things.
they had a Sunday service in the campground that we did the music for, and kind of helped out with that kind of thing. So.
A lot of our guests probably don't know. A lot of us do know. But Joel and Charlotte entertain and do many programs in many different venues. So if you get a chance to catch them as they're playing and singing around here a good bit. So, and where, tell me, Joel, where are you from originally as a child?
I was born in Watertown, New York, way up in the North Country.
Whoa.
Lots of snow.
Yeah.
And my parents were pastors, so I'm a PK, a preacher's
Are
kid.
you really?
Yeah. And I had 3 siblings. There was 4 of us. And when I was 8 years old, then we moved to a Bible school by Rochester, New York, where my dad was on staff for a while.
Really?
So we moved around a bit as a pastors, and
Sure.
I spent my teenage years in northern Pennsylvania, where I graduated from high school, and
My goodness.
so then we moved up to New York, where I met her. And
Okay.
yeah,
Were you a musical family? I would think
Oh,
you
yeah.
probably were.
yeah. My mom played the piano, and we gathered around the piano as kids and sang, and they had a singing up front or playing their instruments. We all played instruments.
Did you?
I played the trumpet, and Dad played the trumpet, and so we're musical. Yeah.
I knew you played the guitar. I didn't know you played the trumpet.
Well, that was years ago, and I learned to play the guitar later in life because I liked to sing, and I was a singer.
Sure.
But whenever I wanted to sing, I had to find accompaniment. So
Yeah.
I said, I'm just going to learn to play the guitar so I
Accompany
can accompany
yourself.
myself.
Yeah.
Although
Yeah.
she played the piano, and early in our marriage,
wow.
we did music together, and she played piano and organ.
I didn't know that, Charlotte. I didn't know you
We've
played
been
the-
singing together since we were teenagers.
Have you really?
Yeah, before we got married, we sang some.
Well, tell me about your childhood. Where?
Well, I was born in Ithaca, New York. Cornell University is there. I have 4 living siblings. I had a 5th one that was born when I was 12 years old, which was a key part of my life, of my childhood, because as a 12-year-old, you're always excited about babies.
Yes.
And this baby only lived 9 days.
Oh my goodness.
She had only 3 parts to her heart instead of 4. And so we had, as a child, from being born till I was 18 or 19 years old when we got married, we had moved, I counted them up, we had moved 9 times as a child.
Oh my word.
So, as a result, I never really had friends, close friends,
I
because
see.
we were moving all the time.
What prompted those moves?
My father didn't pay his bills, basically. And so that was a sort of a joke in our house.
Sure.
We have to move because the rent came due. Well, it wasn't funny.
No, no.
And my father drank, and so it wasn't a happy childhood as far as what was going on in the household. My mother and father fought a lot, and so when I was 12 and my mother had this baby, we had just moved to a small town, probably had less than 200 people in it, and so it was a time when I thought it was going to be better than it was. And but we were going to a church that had a youth program. Well, his father was a, what is he called? Youth director.
Oh, the youth director, the regional youth director, yeah.
Yeah. So every month they had a youth meeting somewhere in the vicinity. And I always made sure I went to that because there was this handsome young boy there. And I was smitten the first time I saw him.
Were you really?
I was. And but he always had a girlfriend, so.
Yeah.
You had to bring that up.
I did. So when I was 15, because my household was so, my mother and father were not compatible very good, and so I prayed. I said, Lord, would you give me a man that I don't fight with?
Or they won't fight back.
Yeah, that too, whatever. Not fight with. And that's the summer that Joel and I met. We met at camp meeting. Through a mutual friend, and he was staying at his uncle's house there at camp meeting. And we went together 4 years and were married when I was 19. He was 21.
My word.
That's my side of the story. His is a little different.
Well, yeah. See, I didn't know who she was for those years that she was stalking me at the youth meetings.
That does go on, doesn't it?
I didn't know that. But no, whatever year it was, I lose track of what the timeline
Sure.
of all these things. But my uncle was pastoring her church, and I went to stay with him in the summer, and there was just a community youth meeting of different churches that were meeting together, and I went to that meeting and sat in the back, and she was playing the piano for the meeting, and at one point she turned around on the piano stool and gave a testimony.
Wow.
And if I ever heard the voice of God, it was, "There's your wife."
Joel.
I said, "I'm not looking, God. I have a girlfriend." And by the end of that year, I think it was that year, my uncle resigned and my dad came to pastor that church.
Well, I'll be.
Is this God?
Oh, what a permanent he became a permanent resident.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You had talked to me about this before.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to share with our guests how that prayer has affected your life. Because you told me that that's something you all don't do, is argue.
We don't argue. Well, there are times when we might not agree on something.
Right.
Of course.
Or if I'm wounded by something, we take care of it immediately. And I have become so sensitive because of the part in my youth
Yes.
Even if he raises his voice and it changes the tone of his voice,
Yes.
it does affect me.
Yes, it does.
But we have immediate conversations about it because it is too unbearable to let it go. And it talks about not letting the sun go down upon your wrath or whatever.
Right.
But just those kinds of things are like bricks that fall out of a wall. And if you don't repair them, pretty soon the wall falls down.
Exactly.
And it's not repairable anymore. So that was has always been important to me. And as a youth, I've forever thanked God that because of my youth, I should have married a person who was more like my father. And God didn't to provide that, which I am very thankful for.
Yeah.
What a
and it was-
powerful answer to prayer. Go ahead, Joel.
Yeah, and it was a learning process for me. You know, when you're married, you're coming from two different families and backgrounds and issues, and I didn't have that kind of an experience in my home. My parents were very, compatible, I guess you could say.
Right.
I never heard them fighting. They were always loving to each other.
Right.
And so forth. But so I had to learn that the threshold of sensitivity that she brought from her background.
Sure.
And be careful about how I responded.
Sure.
But over the years, I've come to realize, and more, we read the scriptures, and we talk about all those things that the New Testament, in the Apostles' writings of the church. So we say it's in the church. Be kind to one another.
Yes.
Put the interests of others above yourselves. Forbearance, that's putting up with something,
Right.
Putting up with it.
Yes.
So I came to realize that's not just for the church. That's not just for our relationships out in the world. That's for our marriage, which is a picture of the church.
Sure is.
I just came to realize that and said, well, just God help me to be that in my home, not just out there. Kind to my spouse and kind to my children.
Joel, that's an interesting perspective, and it's one that Christian couples could benefit from. We don't get a lot of teaching about applying those principles in the home and in the marriage. It's such a valuable perspective.
Yeah, and I actually take offense when I hear a pastor getting in the pulpit and excusing fighting in marriage. We would expect it. And if you're not, something's wrong with you. Why don't we say that about the church? If you're not fighting in the church, something's wrong with you? I don't think so.
Well said. Well said. Yeah. You need a class. Marriage 101.
We just gave it. There it is. You got your class.
Oh, my goodness. Do you have children?
We have two daughters. Lisa, our youngest, is in Oregon. She has 7 children.
My goodness.
And she has two
grandchildren. One on
and
the way.
another one on the way. So we have going to have 3 great grandchildren in June. And then our other daughter lives in Missouri, and she has 3 children, 2 boys and a girl.
In Missouri.
So we don't get to see them very much.
No, you don't, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But our daughter in Oregon comes usually about twice a year to visit us.
Does she?
Yeah, she was just here
She was just here a week or so
Was she
ago.
really? I'm sorry I missed her. You hear about young women with that many children today, and it's admirable for me.
She's done very well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My goodness. And your siblings, do they live close by?
All of our siblings live in New York.
New York. for both of you.
He has a sister who is a missionary to the missionaries. She travels to Africa and all over the world.
My other
To
brothers.
Africa?
Mm-hmm.
Your sister?
Yep. And she's 80.
Well, for
84.
pity's sake.
Don't quit. And my brother, I have two siblings still alive. My oldest brother passed away 30 years ago or more.
Mm-hmm.
So he's retired pastor, but doing well.
Mm-hmm. What has been a surprise to you at living at the village? Has anything been a surprise to you?
The food is so good.
Do you know all my friends say that? Do you all really eat this well all the time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you expect institutional food, you know.
I know.
But
Yeah.
kudos to the food staff.
Yeah, they do a good job,
Yeah.
don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they do too. Great variety. Yeah.
I don't think there were a lot of surprises, but because we've visited the village for so many years with our relationship with the Whitmores.
Okay.
And so they were our
Okay.
initial introduction to the village.
That was my next question, is how you even knew we were here.
Well, we didn't until Ted and Joy Whitmore had moved here from Kalamazoo. We raised our family in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and Ted and Joy were there, and that's how we met the Whitmores.
Right.
And then when they retired to here.
We just knew they went to a retirement village in Florida. We didn't know anything about
That's
that.
Dale's parents.
That's
isn't it?
Dale's parents,
Okay.
yeah.
So you knew them.
So we knew them very well. Yeah, we were like part of the family with them when we were in Kalamazoo. We were in the same church and stuff. And of course, our family wasn't there. So if we didn't go back to New York for our family holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas, Ted and Joy would invite us to their table.
Oh, be.
And I
So-
did crafts with Joy.
Did you really?
We sewed together and did all kinds of things together.
Yeah, you were very close then.
Yes,
Yeah,
we've
so
always
it
been
wasn't
close.
really till we started snowbirding down to
Sure.
Florida that we came to the village and started
Okay.
visiting Ted and Joy. And of course, we'd stayed close with Dale and Sue
Sure.
for all those years. Although I say they tried to lose us because they kept moving. They went clear to Tucson, but we found them. So we've
Stalked them all
stayed
the way
close with
there.
them, and we talked over the years that we'll someday end up here, probably in the village together, and
Yeah.
that happened in the last year or so.
You know, I'm
Yeah.
amazed how many people are here. More than one generation of their family has
Yeah.
been here.
Yeah.
Right,
That
you're
was
right.
my case. That
Yeah,
we're the fourth generation to be
really.
here.
Wow.
Yeah.
We've had people here off and on for 45 years. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Well, maybe we'll be the first of our
Maybe.
yeah,
of our age.
yeah. It's always amazing to me how large the community is out here.
Yeah.
You come up on it, and it's friends of mine that visit are always surprised. Yeah.
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 Well, and one of the things that you don't think about is when we were in Tennessee, our doctors, everything that we needed was at the end of our block.
Oh,
We were in the
boy.
medical community center.
Were
The
you really?
hospital
Hospital was
was
a couple
2
blocks
blocks,
away.
and we
So-
move here, and it's,
Making a lot of trips to Lake City.
yeah, we make a lot of trips
Trips
to
to
Lake
Lake-
City.
Don't we all?
Yes, we do.
But it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, that is a challenge from time to time to get reestablished with medical
is.
Oh,
It
yeah.
is.
staff and all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So tell me what you're doing in the village. 6 months. I know you've gotten busy.
Well, initially we thought, well, in all of our years, either in Tennessee or in Florida, we've always had senior living places that we sang at.
Did you?
In Tennessee, we at one point we had 5 that we went to. We went on Fridays every week, and then COVID came, and it shut down everything.
Oh, yes.
And after COVID reopened, there were only two that would allow us back in for many reasons. So that has always been our primary thing. Is when we came to Tennessee, we said, well, we need some kind of ministry. What does God want us to do? And so we just felt that was something that we could do, and music has always been part of our heart anyway. And so when we came to the village, it took us a couple months, but then we
settled.
Sure.
settled, and
Sure.
then we connected with Dossier, and
Did you?
we sing there once a month. And
Like on Sunday or an afternoon? When do you do
No,
that?
it's actually a Monday. We go.
It is?
Yeah, the third Monday of the month.
yeah,
we go
this
there in the
coming
afternoon.
Monday is the third Monday of the month.
Do you play the piano and you the guitar?
No, I just play the guitar.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, she doesn't play the piano.
I
Anymore.
mean, I if I have one, I can sit down and play, and I
Sure.
enjoy it. But at one point, my arthritis got so bad in my hand it bothered me. But I don't have that so much anymore.
Yeah.
Well, do you find, I've noticed in nursing homes, I've noticed that music is the one thing that
Oh,
people connect to the
absolutely.
most, Joel.
Absolutely. We've had more than one occasion where the staff has almost been in tears of a certain patient that didn't communicate, but they would at least mouth the words
Yep.
of some of these old hymns and stuff. And yeah, it's absolutely it's a miracle. It seems like.
Music and spirituality is in a whole different part of your brain.
Yeah.
And so people might not communicate normally, but when you sing spiritual songs, it redeems their spirit as
Yes.
well.
It's almost
Yeah.
like it becomes part of your DNA, that they can retrieve that without even trying
That's right.
and
Yeah.
communicate
Yeah.
that way and remember every verse.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. So even with us, there are times we haven't sang a particular song in 40 years. And all of a sudden it pops into your head and it won't go away, and you know all the words.
Yeah.
So,
That's one of the things we've enjoyed about the village church here is we do some hymns.
Do ya?
We were brought up in Pentecostal circles, charismatic circles, and
Sure.
then contemporary churches that
Sure.
did a lot of the modern contemporary songs
Yeah.
and left all the hymns behind. And I hated that. Man, I spent probably close to 35 years in the music ministries and churches, and so I went from all that, from the hymns, and then the period of time where we did choruses in the charismatic movement,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we had chorus sheets, and there were new songwriters coming forward and all of that, which is great. But I always hated leaving all those hymns behind.
I know.
So we
I'm
come
glad
here
to hear you say that.
and we sing some of the hymns, and like she said, we haven't sang in years, but I don't even need the words. We can sing all the verses just about. So, yeah, it's amazing. So, yeah.
Well, you're an amazing couple.
Oh,
You
well,
are.
thank you.
We just want to thank you for dropping in to visit
Yeah,
with
thanks for
us
having us.
today.
Always
and,
good talking to you.
Yeah, so it's been a real delight for
Mm-hmm.
me. And now a lot of our people will know who you are and know a little bit about you and get to know you
Yeah.
even better. We're so glad you're here. And we want to thank you for dropping into our front porch today. And we'll be back soon